parents took it kind of very... no, that's not true. They took it pretty much in their stride. I remember the first time I wanted to put on makeup and not having any, and being the age of 15, not yet prepared to walk into Shoppers or wherever and buy a bunch of makeup for myself, not even knowing what I was buying. So I asked my mother, could I borrow a part of your makeup?
I've always been a bit of an outsider. Like when I was a child, I was the little nerd in the class.
I never really said, oh, I think I'll be a goth this week. You know, I was kind of a punk, and then I kind of got twisted.
Well, I think the appeal of goth to myself and to a lot of people I know is beauty.
And another sort of appeal is it's like living theater.
Yeah,
you get to just be over the top and sort of, do things to an extreme, and
it's larger than life.
Yes,
it's
very
not.
much.
It's
encouraging it to be beyond the normal, beyond the mundane.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think it's an opportunity to really shine and to really explore.
Our lifestyle is one that's been centered wholeheartedly around Gothicism. It permeates our existence from the time we get up in the morning to the time we go to bed at night. We work very hard to open sirens so that we don't have anybody telling us how or what to do with our lives. We have the freedom.
I grew up in a school, which is a very old school. It was actually the oldest public school in Ontario when I was a child. So when I began kindergarten, I discovered there were bats in the school. And they were in the tower within the school itself. Well, I went up to the tower when I was a child in my school so I could hang out with the bats, basically, because I felt a certain safety there. And it made some sort of sense to me in a very emotional way. And this was always in relation to what was going on in the rest of the world around me, meaning that I never felt totally attuned to the kind of games that were being played in the playground. My mother had always bought me little velvet little shoes when I was a child. I never quite totally fit in. And I felt that people thought it was a sort of cute aesthetic, whatever that was, when I was a little girl. But I still didn't feel I could communicate with a lot of the children in the playground. And I could somehow communicate in a quite unspoken dimension with the bats. And I felt a certain safety in the darkness and a certain enigmatic quality to the darkness that was something I perpetually became interested in throughout my life.
I think people are just like goth because they can get dates. The lights are, the lighting in goth clubs is really good. And everyone's wearing so much makeup, I mean, you really don't know it, at least until the next day.
What's the significance of the makeup? We all wear makeup. Most goths wear makeup when we get time to put it on. The whole thing for me, again, springs out of the punk era when people were wearing makeup. And it's basically saying, hey, look, I'm different. This is me. This is what I want to wear. This is what I want to look like. I personally find it very aesthetically pleasing, as do a lot of other people. And just because society at present feels that, you know, people shouldn't wear this deep, heavy makeup, doesn't mean that it doesn't look good, and it does.
Well, the term is wrong. It should be romantic, because it's sort of referring to slightly pre-Victorian or sort of around that whole area. But it should be romantic, because that was a romantic period. Goth, of course, refers to Gothic architecture, Gothic everything else, which is way earlier. So they blew it there. I forgot the question.
Okay, today I would say that it means an appreciation for the dark romantic, for elegance and, you know, beautiful stormy old buildings and, you know, a little hint of perhaps spirituality, or at least, you know, exploring the darker side of one's existence and in everyday life. And yeah, above all, elegance and dark romantic, I would say, is what goth means.
I think goth is developing and always absorbing an elegance and beauty and substance too. I mean, so much of what society considers beautiful entirely lacks history and substance. It's so nice to bathe yourself in beauty that has history and substance. So for me, that's what goth is about.
The general feeling of being a counterculture is a binding force between all of the sort of different groups of goths. So, you know, that's what groups us all together as one. We, you know, I think we feel basically as one with all, you know, within all the nuances.
I think the music is a common thread for the alternative scene, the goth scene. That's really a lot what keeps it all together.
How sweet thy scent, how soft thy touch, how pure thy countenance.
Okay, yeah, for a living, I own and run a nightclub. It's an alternative Gothic nightclub on Queen Street, industrial, Gothic. And serve a lot of beer, talk to a lot of people, and sweep a lot of floors. That's pretty much it.
We started the Gothic Society in the fall of 1993. Yeah, the emphasis was really to get away from the club scene and the loud pounding music where people spend the evening yelling in one another's ears and don't really accomplish much on an intellectual level. And our goals were to broaden our horizons on the social front, and at the same time to, as I say, you know, endeavor to intellectualize our existence to another degree.
Well, it's almost reminiscent of like an 18th century salon or
Yes.
something. It's
Yeah.
very much like that.
It is.
Get together every so often and sort of enjoy each other's company and share ideas and organize events that is of interest to everybody there.
The radio show I do is called Beyond the Gates of Hell, and it's sort of like a B movie. If you can imagine a B movie that's a radio show, that's what my show is. Mixture of goth, classical, industrial, experimental music, sort of thrown all together with a bit of death, destruction, murder, pestilence, and other happy things.
Death, destruction, murder, pestilence, and other happy things. Ladies and gentlemen, that was all the way from Vancouver. Their debut CD release, I guess 3 CDs ago, or is it 4? 3 or 4 CDs ago. This is Beyond the Gates of Hell, CIAT 89.5 FM, the radio show that cares about your children. It is 7 minutes after 1 a.m. My name is Mitch. Please keep your fangs and razor blades sharp.
Gothic and the Gothic lifestyle is set around a surreal world. It's the world of nightclubs. It's the world where good and evil exist. It's the world of bright lights, big towns. It's a really great scene to be in. You get noticed, you know, and you feel good about it. I mean, when anybody goes out to the theater, the cinema, or whatever, you get done up. But this is a lifestyle where you get done up every day. Every day you're wearing your best, and every day you feel good about yourself and what you look like. And that's what it's all about.
Some people have questioned why I wear a lot of black, but I think people mistake this notion of black always being associated with darkness and death, whereas in the culture that I grew up in, black is really the color of neutrality. It's a presence of all colors, whereas white is seen as the color of death. So when I wear black, it's not meant to be associated with death or darkness, as opposed to life.
My beliefs for wearing black all the time, and some people might look at us and think that we like death and you know, welcome it and things, but it's quite to the contrary. By living with death every day and having it as a constant reminder in one's life every day, that I find that it makes me appreciate every day of life all the more. I have more things that I can dream of doing in my life than I'll ever have time to do, and one doesn't want to waste a single day.
I've had some bad experiences with people that I've reacted erratically or even quite offensively to the way that I dress. When I go walking around Chinatown where I live, then the Asian people keep referring to me in these really strange demonic ways, because they think that as a female I've not only taken the so-called aesthetic from people that they can't deal with and associate with being demonic, but they think because I'm wearing certain things that are associated with these demonic people, then I must be automatically satanic or evil or cruel in some way, or at least unruly, which for a community that tries to control is not something that you want to be or seen as. But it's not that I'm intentionally trying to project anything, it's just the way that I feel comfortable dressing. So if people are to respond that way, there's not really anything I can do about that.
Obviously, I'm a guy who wears makeup, so that does lend itself to certain problems. From name calling of, you know, gay, faggot, yada, 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 up to sometimes almost bordering on physical violence.
Oh, it's dreadful, because we're a very peaceful people. We are artistically inclined people, not very non-aggressive. Goths, if anything, will get their aggressions out on the dance floor, but that's about it. You know, we don't believe in hurting anybody. We believe in everybody doing their own thing and appreciating everybody else's differences.
It's harder to walk around the streets and not get yelled at. It's more difficult if you're going out trying to find work to, nobody will hire you if you look the way I do right now. It's easier because this is the way I am. If I didn't look this way, I think I'd be, depriving myself of something.
I think the vampire myth is our fantasy, that we would like to meet that vampire so that we could become one, so we could do everything we wanted to do. And because one life is very short, and it would be nice to have centuries to do and accomplish the things that you want to do.
And there's been a lot of talk about the whole Gothic scene and the links with the vampires and the drinking of blood. No, they don't. We are human beings like anybody else. We're regular law-abiding citizens. We don't drink blood. That's something that's been thrown around. That really disgusts me. It disgusts anybody that is a human being, and anybody that says they drink blood does not belong to this scene. Anybody, period, that says they drink blood has some serious problems. They certainly don't have iron deficiency, but they should go to a psychiatrist and have a long chat.
I'd say a lot of the Goths I know drink blood. Many of them perhaps won't admit to it, but I'd say that, yeah, a lot of them do. It's almost embarrassing because it perpetuates the stereotype that, you know, we're like little blood-sucking vampires or wannabe vampires. But it's fun. It tastes good. It's like a rush. You just have to be careful with who you do it because you don't want to catch anything.
We've heard people, you know, bragging, young people bragging, this sort of thing, but it's just, you know, looking for sensationalism.
First time I drank blood, it was strange because a friend of mine got a cut, and it's been a long time habit of mine to like suck the blood of other people's like cuts and stuff. Later on in the night, I started feeling very strange, like I was moving in like fast forward, like I got like really like twitchy, and my reactions got like really sped up. And ever since then, like it's kind of done that, but I didn't really relate it to the blood until afterwards.
Yeah, like, I don't know, we've never met anybody ourselves who's done it, and I think in this day and age of AIDS, I think you'd have to be pretty thick in the head to even consider drinking blood.
I think there's a great deal of sexuality in the goth scene. Not most, but a great deal of the goths I know are either bisexual or gay. It's a definite indicator of like the extreme level of androgyny that's present in the scene. People are like who they are. They're not male or female. They're like just a sexual being.
Sexuality used to really be a part of goth. I think now it's sort of pretending to be. You know, like there's all those sexual overtones, even just in the way, in the clothing, and it's all implied. And even the names of the clubs, you know, Vampire Sex Bar and things like that. I mean, they're calling sex, they're yelling sex, they're screaming it. But I don't see much of that sex out there in the scene anymore. Whereas years and years ago, in the old days, the dark past of goth, I mean, it was really a sexual thing. But times have changed. People are nervous about sex now. They didn't used to be. When I used to go to a Domino Club or those sorts of places, back then, I mean, basically you went out, you got drunk, you did drugs, you danced, you listened to music, and you got laid. You know, it was all sort of happening. It was really sexual. I think AIDS frightens a lot of people, and somehow that's kind of ruined the fun.
Oh, our goals in life are simple. We just want to be normal like everyone else. Little house, spiky black wrought iron fence.
Yes, we're searching for the Addams family mansion. I hope that we can get to that point. Mm-hmm. Our needs are simple.
The Gothic community as a whole is not elitist. It really isn't. It may appear that way because some people like their own space, but in my experience at least, it is definitely not elitist. And I try to get that across to people who maybe don't share my aesthetic, that this is something that it's an exploration of aesthetic. It's not something that's meant to push other people away.
I hope that we can inspire people through the shop, through the way we are, by forming the Gothic Society. I hope that people will be inspired by us so that they can feel that they can dress this way and not feel that, you know, it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you know, even if they don't dress like us, just to express themselves in a positive fashion, because you only live once, so do what's in your heart, you know, live it out.
Society will change, and at present, goth isn't. Hopefully it's timeless. I think, above all else, that's why I adore it. It is timeless. It's outside of what's going on. You know, the black-clad denizens that wander amongst us in Toronto and the people out there, and will continue to do so for quite a while to come.